This is going to be a long video, so those of you who said, oh yes, I'll watch a 10-minute video, well, here's your chance to prove that, and to prove that's actually true. And I can see in the analytics if you're telling me the truth or not, just so you know. All right, so let's talk about bipolar disorder. First of all, what is it? Well, it's a disorder that causes changes in a person's mood, in their energy levels, and in their ability to function. Sufferers tend to experience very intense emotional states that typically last days or even weeks sometimes. These are called mood episodes. And these mood episodes are characterized as manic or hypomanic, which is an abnormally happy or irritable mood, or depressive, which is sad. Now, sufferers also have periods of neutral mood, of course, and when treated, sufferers can lead full and productive lives. There's no reason why not when it's treated properly. Of course, people without bipolar experience mood fluctuations as well. That's perfectly normal, isn't it? But these mood changes generally only last a couple of hours rather than days, and they're not usually accompanied with the extreme degree of behavior change that bipolar sufferers exhibit during mood episodes. Now, bipolar, if untreated, can disrupt relationships and functionality at work or at school. A bipolar disorder is a category that includes 3 different diagnoses: bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and cyclothymic disorder. So sufferers diagnosed with bipolar 1 also tend to have other disorders alongside it, such as anxiety disorders, substance use disorders, or ADHD, for example. So starting with bipolar 1, this is diagnosed when a person experiences a manic episode. And during a manic episode, people with bipolar 1 experience an extreme increase in energy, and they may feel on top of the world, or they may feel uncomfortably irritable. It depends. Some people with bipolar 1 also experience depressive or hypomanic episodes. Now, a hypomanic episode is a manic-like mood, but doesn't quite become a major manic episode. Most people with bipolar 1 also have periods of neutral mood. So, everything is perfectly stable. So what are the symptoms of a manic episode? I think let's put them on the screen, and then you can pause the video and read them. What do you think? So some people experiencing manic episodes also experience disorganized thinking, false beliefs, and sometimes even hallucinations, and these are known as psychotic features. Now, a hypomanic episode, which is kind of in the middle between a major manic episode and a neutral mood, is characterized by less severe manic symptoms that last up to 4 days. That's 4 days in a row, and don't tend to lead to any major problems in daily functioning that occur with a major manic episode. Now, what about the major depressive symptoms? I think it's probably good to put those on the screen as well. Let's have a look. Right, so that's bipolar 1. Now let's take a look at bipolar 2. A diagnosis of bipolar 2 means that you've had at least one major depressive episode and at least one hypomanic episode. Now remember, hypomanic isn't a full-blown manic episode, it's a milder version. Sufferers then return to their usual functioning selves between episodes, and everything is back to normal. A bipolar 2 sufferers generally only seek treatment after their first depressive episode. Why is that? And it's actually because the hypomanic episode often feels really good, really pleasurable, in fact, and it can even increase performance at work or at school. So people tend not to worry too much about them. They think they've just gotten this sudden burst of energy, and it's amazing. It feels great. Sufferers with bipolar 2 also tend to have other disorders like anxiety disorder, substance use disorder, maybe alcoholism as well. Alcohol and substance use exacerbates the symptoms of depression, by the way, in both bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Now, bipolar commonly runs in families, so 80 to 90% of sufferers will have a relative with bipolar disorder or depression. And of course, environmental factors such as stress or sleep disruption and drugs and alcohol can also trigger mood episodes in more vulnerable people. The specific causes of bipolar disorder within the brain are not exactly clear, but certainly an imbalance of brain chemicals is believed to lead to the dysregulated brain activity that you see in bipolar disorder. Now, the final type of bipolar disorder is what we call cyclothymic disorder. And this is considered to be, a milder form of bipolar. And this tends to involve very frequent mood swings between hypomania and mild depressive symptoms. Sufferers experience emotional highs and lows, but they're very frequent. But they're nowhere near as severe as sufferers of bipolar 1 or bipolar 2. Now, I know this was a long video, and if you're still here at the end of it, that's amazing. But I think it's important to do a long video because bipolar isn't as black and white as people seem to believe it is. And people use the word bipolar flippantly, and you'll see that in my flippant video. They will say things like, oh, they're having a bipolar moment, when they don't actually understand the severity of the illness. But also, I don't think most people understand that bipolar disorder itself has 3 different diagnoses to it. And I haven't even touched on comorbidity with bipolar. That's a whole other 10-minute video.